Many thanks for continuing in this big lecture, how to run a school free of debtors. We have talked about several strategies, and three strategies already, and we are going to the fourth strategy, which is build multiple income streams. You say, what does having multiple income streams have to do with running a school free of debtors? Are you thinking what I'm thinking? If you don't have another income stream apart from the school fee and school money, it will be difficult to take some decisions, because remember, both customer and business person are operating and relating with themselves from their thinking. When parents or customers discover that you don't have any other source of income, they can afford to treat you anyhow. Why? Because they know that in a matter of time, even if you send them out of the school, you will soon come begging. If you send everybody away from the school, it's going to become a problem for you. So, but when you have another stream of income, you have confidence to put your foot on the ground and liberate yourself from behaviors of your customer or parent that will make sure your business is all go fine. So let's go right into this strategy. Build multiple income streams. I'd like you to follow me very closely and follow the slides very closely. So I want to show you that one of the ways to run a school free of debtors is for you to build multiple income streams. I say here that when there is backup, there is confidence to act. You know, we're talking about in the last strategy that you should create a fee collection policy. Let's say your parents are already used to paying their school fees 6th, 7th, 8th week. All of a sudden, you want to change that from 6th, 7th, 8th week. You want them to now begin to pay 1st, 2nd week. It's going to be a challenge. You know, it's going to be a challenge. People naturally don't want to change. Not because they can't change, but because they feel, why should you make them change? So to have that kind of policy and to implement it, you also must have a backup. In the beginning of your implementation, I will not tell you that everybody will latch on. Some people will foot drag. Some people may consider withdrawing. It will be minimal if you have done the right amount of consultation that I talked about in the last class. But whichever way it swings, you will be confident, more confident to act if you are sure you have a backup, you have another stream of income with which you will run your business even while you wait for your people to catch up with your new trade. Now, what makes it typically difficult for you to set liberating standards at prompt collection of fees, and what makes it almost impossible for you to put your foot on the ground on the kind of payment treatment you want for your parents is because you probably have no other stream of income. And don't get me wrong, when I say another stream of income, I'm saying another stream of income in the scale of school. So if your school is producing, say, so millions every term, and you have another stream of income that is producing 20,000 every term, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying another stream of income in the scale of school. This is not a purely business class. Of course, it is a business class for school owners, but maybe if you will join me in my other business classes, I'm going to teach you purely how to create multiple income streams, whether for school or for anything else. Because in this particular big lecture we are going there, I'll touch about it. I'll talk about how you can have, what you can do to create other streams of income, even right from your school. But you see, if the only venture you have as source of income is that school and that school alone, then it may be difficult to stand your ground. That's the truth. So I will not deceive you. All the strategies I'm teaching will work also better if you have another standing source of income. You know, there's something about money. When you have it, you have confidence. When you have it, you care less whether somebody is harassing you. You understand? People will harass you. People will say what they want to say. At the end of the day, if you do not take the decision of running your school free of debtors When the time comes, so when you cannot cope again with the school, those same parents who do not want to change and follow your policies or principles will leave and go to another school, and then the school, the problem becomes yours. So do not wait for people to leave you, or for instance, before you let them. Sometimes your policies will make some people make their decision to leave. Please let them go. Remember, you see, sometimes when I talk to school owners, if I make this, if I determine to run my school free of debtors, and I apply these principles, and you do so, and the other school does so, and every school in the area does so, then we have achieved something, we have won. Parents will suddenly discover that when they come to me, they hear the same thing. When they go to you, they hear the same thing. They will also now change their behavior and understand that when you are bringing children to school, be ready to pay. You understand? However cheap or expensive the school is, what matters is not how much. What matters is, please pay me what I deserve when I deserve it, when it is useful and good for the business. So now, I continue talking about building multiple streams of income. I'm saying to you that one of the strategies, one of the biggest strategies, one of the things you need to have on ground for you to achieve this debtor-free school status, for you to implement these policies confidently, is for you to have what? Another stream of income. The parents know that you can't do anything without their money, and so they will exploit that and refuse to obey your policies. They know that you will soon come begging them the moment they stay 1 or 2 weeks for non-payment of school fee. The truth is, you really don't want them to go. You can't afford it. You are subtly telling yourself, debtor or no debtor. That is when you don't have other streams of income. Debtor or no debtor, at least if they keep coming, they will pay someday. Debtor today will become buoyant tomorrow, I know. But when a debtor stays too long in your school, he becomes toxic. Remember that debtors will bring debtors. When a debtor stays in too long in your school, and also remember that the surest route to getting more children into your school is through the existing parents. So if half of your parents are debtors, be sure that the incoming parents will also be debtors. That is why you cannot afford to continue having debtors in your school. It's a pity, but that's a position the Nigerian economy has placed many of us. The fear of losing all debtors to another school is the beginning of reason. But then, it is not as easy as we think. I know you are going to ask me a question and say, Mr. Deniji, it's not that easy. It's not that easy. Is it? I know it's not that easy. I know it's not going to be easy, but I'm telling you something, that there's something even worse. If you do not take the pain now and read your school of debtors, now let me tell you this, all of these 10 strategies we are teaching are grouped into 3. The first one is for you to stop admitting the parents who owe you. The second group of these strategies is for you to systematically convert existing debtors into prompt payers. Meanwhile, there's a third group, which is for you to purposefully flush out unrepentant debtors from your school. It doesn't mean they are bad in themselves. It doesn't mean they are bad people. No, they may just not. They are not just fit for your system, and because they are not fit for your system, the best thing is to find a way to quietly exit them, so they go to another school. Because the freer your school can be of debtors, the better for you. If you have only one debtor out of 99 parents, it's not too bad, because only one debtor may be bringing one other debtor, but the 99 others will bring paying parents. I tell you, you may be asking me, it is not as easy as you are saying it. If I'm too strict with this issue of collection of fees, they will all leave. I even heard the school owner tell me one day, Mr. Neji, it's okay. I love the number. I just like the number. Whether they are paying or they are not paying, I know number is good. Number markets the school. Number makes good noise about the school in your environment. Nobody wants to have a school with only scanty 1 or 2 or 3, 10 children. Everybody wants schools of 200, 300, where when children close, they troop out in droves. I know. But you see, I want you to choose what you want from yourself. Now, let me tell you about myself. When I started my school 3 years ago, I decided in myself that my dreams, my other dreams will not die simply because I'm running a school. My dreams will not remain stagnant, or my life will not remain stagnant just because I'm running a school. It is very good to run a school, do the business and do it fine, but remember that you have dreams you are pushing. The school is your dream, but the school also should be going from one level to the other. So you have to decide for yourself the kind of life you want. Do you know that the caliber of parents you have will determine the kind of life you will live? Yes, let me say that again. The kind of parents you have will determine the kind of life you will live. If you have parents who will never pay school fees until you have a headache and heartache, until you agitate, and that continues every term. Remember that you are not growing younger, you are growing older. The more you do that, if you don't have peace of mind collecting money, it is not good for your health. You don't want to run a school where you are running a school and then because you are running a school, everything about you has just shut down. Now it's not good if your parents do not pay you many of the dreams you have, even concerning the school. Imagine you want to expand, you want to do this, you want to buy this. Matter of fact, you will not even be able to deliver to them the kind of education quality education that is required for their children to have an enviable future. I want you to detest this situation as much as possible and decide in yourself that you're going to go back to your table and take these policies, these strategies one after the other, and work your own version, create your own version of these strategies and implement them. Believe me, if you can do it, you're going to begin to smile. At the end of the day, what you will have achieved is that you are changing the thinking and the mentality of your parents from what it used to be to another thing. You want to tell them, look here, it doesn't pay you, it doesn't pay me for us to run this school filled with debtors. Let's rather start running free of debtors. And you need to ask yourself, what kind of life do you want to live? Several times, the loans you access and pay interest that is supposed to be your profit is because you don't get that bulk blow of money when you are supposed to get it. In those days, many of us even take loans to pay salary because the month has ended and the income so far has not gauged enough to pay salary. The money will come in quite alright, and that's one of the reasons why you are satisfied. You are complacent with this issue. You are saying, well, even though they are owing, but at least before the term ends, they all pay. That's not good enough. It's not good enough. The money will come in quite well, but it's always delayed. Your next level depends on the caliber of parents you currently have. You either change them or convert them. Ask yourself, what kind of life do you want to live? Survivor or thriving? Now, a good entrepreneur is one who has more than one stream of income. That's when you will be bold enough to take your stand on those who are bent on dragging you down or making you go slow in your school and in fact in your life. You will be relaxed and you will reserve your emotional energy to moving the school forward with the little resources that come in at just the right time. Now, over the years, over time, these parents will come to see that you are not as desperate to retain them as you are to live a productive life and have peace of mind. That's what I'm saying. Parents will come to see that, of course, you want to retain the parents, but you want to have peace of mind. Your peace is more important than retaining the parents, because if you don't have peace of mind running your school, as you age, as you grow older, it will begin to affect your health. And you see, when you are not being happy for over a period of time, it affects your health. You are putting in so much effort into the school, but it's not yielding the results you deserve. They will begin to comply. Your parents will comply. Don't be afraid. You are forcing a culture on them. You are telling them, please, value me. Think of me first. If you don't value me, then I don't need you here. Check elsewhere. So now, the last point under this point is, I want us to know, the problem many of us have is that we have built the school around ourselves and we find it difficult to step out of it. We have not taught ourselves any other way to making money over the years. I have a problem when people say, well, what do you do? I'm in school now. What else do you do? Nothing. Not that I'm trying to change your focus or your attention. But you see, the good thing about making money is that it affords you to make more with the money you have made. There are several ways of making as much as you are making from the school you are running without having to dump the school. You understand? There are several ways of making more money from what you have without having to dump or change your focus from the primary thing, which is school. So it is important you take this very serious. You need to invest in yourself. In the next slide, I mean, the next strategy, I'm going to show you how, at least I'll give you an idea of how to create multiple streams of income from the school.